guys, I'm back again. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm back with another video this Thursday like I promised last week, but because I haven't finished reading Throne of Glass, I've decided to do a new type of video. So I hope that you guys really enjoy it, and if you do, be sure to let me know because I might do more videos like this if you guys really like it. So without further ado, let's go. Okay guys, so today I'm going to be talking about something that I get asked a lot, either by my friends or people that I know or even my students, and that is, how do you manage to read one or many books at the same time without getting completely lost? Because a lot of people that I know, including my high school students, find it really difficult to focus on reading even one book. So reading multiple books when they have for different classes is even more complicated for them. So I decided to make down a list of what I do when I have to read multiple books, and I want to share it with you guys because I think they are very important tips for when you're studying, for when you're teaching, even for when you're reading for pleasure and you want to read more than one book. So let's start with this list. So for this list I gathered like 5 points that I think are really important. I obviously know what it's like to read up to 5 novels a week, or 5 plays a week, because I was an English major and I have a master's degree. So even when I was taking 2 master's classes or 3 master's classes, sometimes I had to read 3 to 4 novels a week, or at least like half of those novels, the chapters that we were reading. So I was reading 5 different things a week or 4 different things a week, and it can really drive you crazy if you are not very organized. So that's why I jotted down this list. So let's hit it without any more delays. Number 1, the first thing that I think you have to do is organize yourself. You definitely want to know what novels you are going to be reading that week or that period of time, which leads me to the second point in that first point, is that while you're organizing yourself, apart from knowing what novels you want to read, you definitely need to know how much you're going to be reading of those novels. For example, if your teacher or your professor asks you to read from chapters 1 to 5, then you know you're going to be reading chapters 1 through 5 from this novel and maybe chapters 7 through 10 of the other novel. So you have to organize yourself, how many pages you're going to read, how many chapters you're going to read if you're doing it by chapters. And really important, if you don't know the author that well, I suggest that you do a little research on him before you start reading the novel or the book or the play, because some of the background information from the author might help you to understand the novel better. Some things you don't understand, maybe you could understand better if you read up on the author before. So don't be afraid to do a little research. You only have to read like maybe a small biography. I'm not asking you to read like a book on him, but you know, just a little background information can really help you when you're reading. Alright, so tip number 2, definitely make a schedule. Like I said, if you have to read chapters 1 through 5, schedule yourself so you don't have to read them all in one day. For example, if you have to read chapters 1 through 5 in 1 week, you can read 1 chapter a day. And on Thursday you read 2 chapters. So you're organizing that way, you're not overloaded. If you have to read more than 1 novel in 1 week, like 2 novels in 1 week, and they're not very long, try to organize them. Say from morning to noon, I'm going to try to read chapters 1 through 10 of this novel. And then at night, I'll read chapters 1 through 2 of the other novel because it's a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. Yeah, definitely try to make a schedule and try to stick by it, because if you start slacking off, you're definitely not going to be finishing either of those novels or either of those chapters that you have assigned. Number 3, and extremely important, I cannot stress this enough, take notes and underline your books. Now I know a lot of people don't like to underline their books, myself included, but in the last few years I started doing it with pencil, just in case I don't like it, I can just erase it. But some people definitely highlight their books, and that is great. If you don't want to touch your books at all because you don't want to damage them, you have a smartphone, so definitely take pictures of quotes or things that you might think are really important, because you might need them for your papers if you're writing any papers, or you might see them in a test if you're taking a test, or for a presentation, etc., and you're not going to remember. If you don't underline or bookmark or something, you're not gonna find your quotes. So definitely find a way to remember those quotes that you really liked or that you might really need. And definitely take notes, because sometimes you forget certain events and you get confused and you don't know what's really going on. And if you've taken notes of what happened earlier, it'll help you understand the rest of the novel, or some parts that are a little bit muggy, because you're explaining it in your own words, and it will be easier for you to understand. Number 4, research. Sometimes when we're reading novels, we might not understand some things very well, or some events we don't know anything about. If you find yourself stuck, definitely do research. Don't spoil yourself if you don't have to about the rest of the novel, but definitely do research. There's a lot of pages out there that can help you understand what happens in that novel. For example, with Shakespeare, a lot of people don't understand the language. It's really difficult for them. Definitely check out No Fear Shakespeare on SparkNotes. It translates all of Shakespeare's novels into more colloquial, modern-day English, so that it can be easier for you to understand if you don't understand it. So definitely use tools like that, because they're out there to help you. As long as you don't copy-paste anything from those places, you can definitely use it to understand what you're reading if you don't understand something. And number 5, and the last step before you have to do whatever you're doing with this novel, or if you're reading for pleasure, etc., reread parts that you feel like you don't remember or that are important and might come up in your paper or test or whatever. You don't have to reread the whole novel, even though some people I know like to do that if they feel like their understanding is weak and if the novel's not too long. And if you have the time, definitely reread the whole novel again if you want to. But if you don't want to, you can just reread passages that you feel are important to your knowledge of that novel. So there's nothing wrong with rereading. And finally, just a message: reading is not easy, especially if you're doing it for college or for high school classes. It's really difficult to focus when you have a lot of stuff to read and a lot of it you're not really interested in. But I think it's really important you do so, because through the things that you don't like, you will form reading habits, and eventually when you get to read the things that you really want to read, you will be much more focused, and through time it'll become way easier to read. Building reading habits is super important, especially if you're a student. Even in high school, start your reading habits early, because you're really gonna need them in college, not only to read novels, but to read all of your college books that you need to use. So for any class, not just for literature classes. So yes, those are my tips from a teacher to you and from a student to you guys. I hope you guys can use them really well for whatever you need them. Alright guys, that is all for me in today's video. If you guys would like to see more tips that I have, I'm thinking about doing one for writing papers or for doing presentations. If you guys would like me to do more videos on that, please let me know in the comments, because I'm totally willing. I am a teacher by profession, so I like to help others in any way that I can, and especially readers, because I know it's a little bit difficult for some students to get into it. So definitely let me know below if you have any questions about this video. Also ask me below and I will answer them for you. I am here to help as well as share my opinions with you guys. So thank you so much for the support. Let me know if you like the video down there, and be sure to check in next week for another video. Next week I'll do my video on Thursday, but after that I'm going to start a Friday schedule because I go back to work on the 1st of August. So I'm going to be a little more busy, and Fridays would be my ideal day to bring you guys your videos. And definitely stay tuned for my review of Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, because I am really enjoying this book. See you guys soon. That is not a good thing. It's not a good feeling when you're reading. You want to read because you're excited to read. You don't want to read because you want to finish this book and it's been taken too long anyway already.